Carolina, and welcome into Blackbaud Stadium, home of the Charleston Battery, and your site for the 8th annual Clash of the Carolinas Boys All-Star Soccer Match as the North Carolina Tar Heels take on the Sandlappers of South Carolina. Hello, everybody. I am Birch Antley, joined today by John Peters. John, great weather for what should be a wonderful All-Star match. The North Carolina boys lead this series, 3 wins, 1 loss, 3 ties.
It's not too long ago we were looking out here at a flooded pitch that was looking very treacherous. Right now it's far from that as these teams are introduced. The field looks wonderful. The crowd is excited. We just saw a great match between the girls, and I'm sure these guys are chomping at the bit to get out here and take the pitch and get started.
North Carolina, they have won the last 3 matches here in the Clash of the Carolinas. They knocked off South Carolina last year here at Blackbaud Stadium 1-0. And John, let's take a look at the participants in this Clash of the Carolinas All-Star match. First, the Tar Heels from North Carolina. Michael Basnett, John McNulty, Garrett Bridgewater, Bobby Cardell, Jake Chasteen, Brandon Feaster, Will Green, Jonah Hodes, Noah Kimball, Connor Kirby, Chase Road, Robert Smith, Austin Stamey, North Carolina's Player of the Year from T.C. Roberson, Cam Steele, Ryan Turner, Warren Washington, Justice Heiser, and Michael Clemens. North Carolina coached by Ron Benson, 30 years at Chapel Hill, and Mike Flo from Asheville, 20 years coaching for Mike Flo. The South Carolina Sandlappers, there you see them in red with the black bottoms. They are coached by Ben Schoen from Waccamaw and David Wilcox from Christ Church. In goal today from Academic Magnet, Brady Allardyce, the only keeper, along with Landon Aldrich, who is actually out of this game today for South Carolina due to injury and will be replaced by Stockton Blanchard. So 2 keepers today on the roster for South Carolina. Allardyce joined by Alex Borland, Chandler Corley, Johnny Cutrone, Christian Deeney, Raphael Darragel, Kyle Dix, Dylan Garcia, Garrett Glaze, Keaton Haynes, Brennan Coslow, Andrew Martins, Grayson Rayner, Josh Reed, Tyler Ryder, Adrian Thompson, Landon Aldrich is out due to injury from Greenwood, and Julian Wilborn, forward from Northwestern. Again, South Carolina coached by Ben Schoen, 17 years coaching for Waccamaw, and David Wilcox from Christ Church, the South Carolina Coach of the Year 4 times. David Wilcox at Christ Church, and Christ Church has the national record, John Peters, for most consecutive state championships at 11. That's a national high school record.
Pretty amazing, and you see great coaches, you can see great players. As you mentioned, the North Carolina coaching staff with 50 years experience right there, and we're going to see some great soccer as the teams are. Said the captains, as we go through that list that you did a great job with. Number 7, Will Green, as well as Chase Road for North Carolina. And for South Carolina, the Sandlappers, good nickname for the South Carolina team, is number 15, Tyler Ryder, and Brennan Coslow, number 11. Coslow from St. Joseph's, Ryder from J.L. Mann. On the other side, it was Road from Cardinal Gibbons, and Green from Marvin Ridge.
Yeah, Marvin Ridge in Waxhaw, North Carolina, the 3A state champs this year. And Chase Road from Cardinal Gibbons and Raleigh, and Chase Road is going to be playing for Wake Forest.
Cardinal Gibbons state champs, and have 3 players who will be attending ACC schools, as we saw earlier on the information that came out. One of those we just saw play was Morgan Reed, and she'll be going to Duke. And then on the guys side, Cameron Steele, North Carolina State, and Chase Road to Wake Forest.
And a lot of these players will be heading to the next level. Now, all of these players from South Carolina and North Carolina, they've already graduated high school. And this is their last hurrah before heading to the next level for many of them. Brady Allardyce will start in goal today for South Carolina from Academic Magnet right here in the Charleston area. Brady had a shutout in the 2014 Class 2A state championship the Raptors of Academic Magnet won. And I believe our starter in goal today for North Carolina will be Jake Chasteen from Watauga in Boone, although We may see Justice Heiser on first from Chapel Hill. Ron Benson, of course, the head coach for the Tar Heels, the coach at Chapel Hill High School, was just named into the North Carolina Soccer Coaches Association Field of Honor, John. That's their Coaches Hall of Fame. Two-time North Carolina Coach of the Year, 676 wins in his 30-year career.
Wow. Averaging, let's see, that's almost 23 wins a year then for, you said 30 years?
30 years.
Wow. 22.5 or so wins per season. I mean, there are coaches out there looking for their 22nd win in their third, fourth, fifth year probably, and here's a guy, a legend, I'm sure, in North Carolina soccer. You talk about the academic magnet. Now, I may be wrong, and folks, you can send us some mean emails since you don't have our email or our tweet address. But academic magnet, when I first came to Charleston, had just begun, and the sports programs were just not right there as good as they. And now you see great sports coming from a great school that's emphasizing academics, and that's great to see.
Yeah, Josh Hamill is the head coach for Academic Magnet for the boys soccer programs. Won 2 state championships in the past 3 years, and their girls, Academic Magnet pulled off a clean sweep this year. Their girls won the state championship as well.
Excellent.
Now there is a difference between South Carolina and North Carolina, John Peters, and that is this: in North Carolina, and the North Carolina high school calendar, soccer is played in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
In South Carolina, the South Carolina High School League, it is a spring sport. South Carolina in the red. They will be moving left to right. North Carolina in the blue. Excuse me, North Carolina moving left to right. South Carolina right to left. And quickly, we see Brady Allardyce having to go to work from Academic Magnet.
It's reminiscent of the girls game where Logan Nelson had to come up with 14 or 15 saves, eventually losing 2-1, but North Carolina automatically here already putting some pressure on.
Now the late replacement for Aldrich, the injured goalkeeper who was initially named to the Clash of the Carolinas roster out of Greenwood High School, is Stockton Blanchard from Ashley Ridge in Somerville, which is not far from Daniel Island. Stockton actually played in the North-South All-Star Classic, which is a South Carolina All-Star game. In North Carolina, they have the East-West All-Star Classic. In South Carolina, it's the North-South. And Stockton played in that event just 3 weeks ago right here at Blackbaud Stadium and was outstanding in the net for the South squad, which won.
Well, within the first minute, we've seen a save by South Carolina, and then we've seen a corner, all happening within the first minute. We're just about a minute and a half in now and already seen action on both ends.
So North Carolina, they do start with Jake Chastain in goal. Watauga High School out of Boone. Very strong leg as he sends it to the half line. North Carolina with Robert Smith from Apex. Smith, number 13, midfielder. Now over to Garrett Bridgewater from Croatan and Newport. Now Noah Kimball from Havelock, Eastern North Carolina. Nice bicycle move right there for South Carolina. Grayson Rayner from Riverside.
Rayner will be playing at Clemson. We were just talking about the tradition at Clemson in soccer, and what an honor for him to be able to go and play there.
And actually, with that bicycle, it was Adrian Thompson from Spring Valley, number 16, who is going to play at Wofford. He'll be a Terrier.
There you go.
So that athletic move pulled down by Adrian Thompson from Spring Valley.
Impressive move it was.
Yeah. As you say, though, Grayson Rayner is heading to Clemson University, a 4-year starter for Riverside up in Greer, South Carolina. Clemson with a traditional powerhouse of a program up there. They've won a national championship in soccer. Good speed being flashed there by Adrian Thompson, but North Carolina holds on. They'll try to feed Warren Washington from Jacksonville, one of the forwards on the right flank, but South Carolina takes it away. South Carolina trying to snap this 3-game losing skid to the Tar Heels. South Carolina has only won one match in the 8-year history of the Clash of the Carolinas, and that was back in 2010, I believe.
It's good to see in the men's game. You see the throw-in many times almost as a semi-corner kick as they line it up and they loft it right in front of the net. And see if that happens here. We saw a good long throw there just a moment ago by the South Carolina player.
So South Carolina with a throw-in. I'll just lay it down, tap it in here. Trying to work over to Brennan Coslow, one of the captains. There's Coslow from St. Joseph's High School in Greenville. St. Joseph's Catholic School in Greenville. Take away there by North Carolina and Noah Kimball, number 9. Nice footwork there. Austin Stamey from T.C. Roberson in Nashville, 4A state championship this year, and he was the MVP of that championship, one of the top players in the state of North Carolina.
Good job of heading that one away by Darby Martins from Wando. We've talked a lot about Wando, the Warriors, and Shiloh Tisdale. He was up here last year, came in and did a little commentary during the match. That was a lot of fun to hear the coaches. We had a couple different coaches stop by. A lot of pride in their players out there.
Shiloh Tisdale was one of the co-coaches for South Carolina's South squad in that North-South All-Star match. And Shiloh Tisdale actually played in the North-South All-Star game as a player.
Not this year.
Not this year.
That's been a few years back, I guess. Could have been a possible handball there, it looked, but no call.
Here's Noah Kimball now. Right flank for North Carolina. Kimball being marked very closely.
He's covered like a blanket out there by
number 11 for South Carolina, Brennan Coslow from St. Joseph's. Back-to-back state championships for Coslow and St. Joseph's in Class A in the state of South Carolina. Tell you, number 16, Adrian Thompson, has good hip action, does he not?
Another good clear there. Good whip that leg across and clear it out.
Here's North Carolina and Brandon Feaster from Ronald Reagan High School in Flafftown.
Flafftown. That could be on the National Spelling Bee.
And I mispronounced that. It's Pfafftown, not Flafftown. Pfafftown.
Still could be on a national spelling bee.
Spelled
my goodness.
With a silent P. Oh, good work over there by North Carolina's Jonah Hodes from T.C. Roberson in Nashville, 4-year starter. T.C. Roberson with a stacked team this year as they won the 4A state championship. Good speed there from South Carolina's Julian Welburn from Northwestern High School in Rock Hill. Now ahead to Keaton Haynes from J.L. Mann.
That was quick pace. That ball caught him right between the eyes there, it looked like.
North Carolina grabs it down, and now Will Green, one of the co-captains from Marvin Ridge, the 3A state champs. In the box, there's a shot. Allardyce is there.
What a save.
Denies Noah Kimball.
He looked like an NFL receiver diving for that ball and just tapping it away. Not only that, had the presence of mind to keep it close enough where he could scoop it up and not let a rebound take place.
2 state championships at Academic Magnet for Brady Allardyce, a shutout this year against Indian Land High School in the 2A state championship.
We'll see that diving save right here. Little fight there as it comes back out front. Boom, he had it. Good save.
There's a whistle. There's jersey tugging there, and the official right on it. Here's South Carolina with a chance. South Carolina, nice work by Chasteen, and goal for North Carolina as he turns back the charge from Johnny Cutrone from Fort Mill High School.
Well, thus far, these two teams seem pretty equal in their flow back and forth. And both teams are mounting some good offense.
Here's North Carolina now. Robert Smith, number 13, sends it over left side to Bridgewater from Croatan. Bridgewater Now Cutrone for South Carolina pulls it down. Cutrone over to Thompson.
Good possession.
Now here's Corley, or check it, Grayson Rayner from Riverside. Now Robinson. North Carolina with Jonah Hodes from T.C. Roberson. Allardyce, the keeper today for South Carolina from Academic Magnet, he is going to play collegiately at Furman University. He's going to be a Paladin, and I think the entire world knows about Furman University now after this World Cup and the U.S. men's national team and a pretty good captain, Clint Dempsey, who played collegiately at Furman University.
And I see a Dempsey jersey down here somewhere. I saw one earlier. I'm sure that's, of course, there's a lot of those these days. Going back and forth. Time of possession pretty equal here as both teams doing a good job of controlling things pretty well. The defense pretty well organized as they set up.
Austin Stamey, good battle there as he works it inside the box. Here's a chance for North Carolina, turned back by the Sandlappers. Big collision. Players pop right back up. There's a deep ball from John McNulty from Holly Springs High School.
He loaded up with that left foot, but Allardyce, he knew that was wide, let it go, and a good keeper, they know right where they are in front of that frame. They know exactly when they need to go after it and when they need to let it go. Kind of sounds like Kenny Rogers.
10th minute, no score from Blackbaud Stadium. Daniel Island in Charleston, South Carolina. Chastain leaves his line. No threat. And good communication there, too. Did you notice, John, that Jonah Hodes was, helping his keeper out, letting him know it's okay, you're good, you're good. Good communication right there.
Good sweeper there to sweep things up and take charge.
And again, these all-star squads, these clubs, South Carolina and North Carolina, for many of these players, they've never played together before. Now, some have, on club level, but many they have not until yesterday, on Friday, when the teams arrived and had meetings and some warm-up sessions, then a banquet on Friday night. Tonight, they are the guests of the Charleston Battery, as the Battery will play host to the Charlotte Eagles, a match that will be broadcast right here on NSCAA TV at 7:30 tonight. So
you're telling me we have another clash of the Carolinas?
We do.
Charlotte and Charleston. I wonder if that's also a big rivalry in hockey with the.
So they can leave the South Carolina and North Carolina flags.
Just let them out. Let them stay up.
On the poles here. Oh, there's a beautiful header for North Carolina. That was gorgeous. Will Green, one of the co-captains.
Great job there. The ball sent right to him. An assist from Noah Kimball. Right at the right level, right in front of the gun. Nothing the keeper could do on that. I'm sure we'll see the replay here. That team looked like they worked together very well on that play.
That was gorgeous from Will Green.
Ball deep in the box. Over the head of the defender, perfectly placed. And you've got some good height on Will Green as he goes up and puts it away. Green, who will be playing. Well, he's going to Appalachian State. Doesn't say that he's playing there, but wow, good soccer player.
I'll tell you, if I were a basketball coach at Appalachian State, I'd be looking at Will Green as well. I mean, he really got up there.
And maybe that's what's happening. He may be playing a different sport.
Excellent vertical leap there for Will Green, and that was just beautiful work.
Just over the head of the defender. I did not get the number of the defender that was back, but great job there. Probably was Darby Martins, was trying to come up and deflect that away.
Yeah, Will Green, one of the reasons why Marvin Ridge winning the 3A state championship in North Carolina.
We'll see how South Carolina responds here. Many times the team will get their back against the wall and they can really come out and get some motivation. And we'll see if that's the case here with South Carolina as they now find themselves down by a goal, trying to fight back.
North Carolina won last year 1-0. They've taken the last 3 of their neighbors to the south. Now South Carolina near side Julian Welburn trying to push it back to Adrian Thompson, and here come the Tar Heels. Warren Washington from Jacksonville. Number 17 centers it over to Austin Stamey.
This is going to be a dangerous spot for a free kick right here.
Indeed. We're going to whistle that foul on Grayson Rayner, the future Clemson Tiger, 4-year starter from Riverside High School.
What do we, maybe 6 or 8 yards outside the box, maybe 10. Looks like it's about 10 because they're setting the wall up right along the top of the box.
Got some substitutes ready to check in just a moment here from North Carolina. But first, let's take a look at Garrett Bridgewater here. South Carolina has that wall. Bridgewater fires. Split that wall, but Allardyce right there.
Kept it low, and he stayed down with it to scoop it up. And so another bullet dodged, as we said earlier, had a bunch dodged in that women's match. The ladies, that was a tough match for
North
South
Carolina winning that one, getting the game winner in the 78th minute.
Of an 80-minute match, and it was Logan Nelson being peppered with shots throughout.
Here's North Carolina with an interception. North Carolina, Noah Kimball. They're trying to work it right side. Washington trying to get free, being tracked by Robinson from Spring Valley High School. And South Carolina able to clear it away. Working with Keaton Haynes, trying to feed Cutrone. Good takeaway there by North Carolina. That was excellent work by the defender, Jonah Hodes, or check it, Noah Kimball.
Good scrum there. North Carolina gets the best of it.
Robert Smith from Apex taken down. Left side, they'll float one in.
Ooh.
Looking for a little bicycle there was Will Green, trying to find his second goal of the day, but unable to connect. Now North Carolina attacking left flank.
That may have been a painful miss inside the box there as he came down hard on his back. Also had Brandon Feaster back here doing a good job on defense. And so North Carolina, are they taking this? They're taking the break possibly.
We've got a ton of substitutions.
Mass substitution. There were so many players coming off, I thought we had a timeout.
For North Carolina, I can tell you, Cameron Steele from Cardinal Gibbons in Raleigh, who is going to stay right at home and attend and play for the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. He is onto the pitch along with Michael Bassnett, forward from W.A. Huff High School in Cornelius, and a ton of South Carolina players onto the pitch.
We have
North
a foot
Carolina
race
in the blue, South Carolina in the red. North Carolina attacking left to right.
And you see a pretty good attack on both ends. Pretty equal in intensity.
Will Green from North Carolina with the header in the 12th minute to put the Tar Heels up early, 1-0 here in the 17th. Sliding in Austin Stamey, number 14, for North Carolina.
We had a foul back up the pitch, or take it back down there and get the quick free kick.
Near side to the sweeper Hodes. Now back out to Chase Road. Road from Cardinal Gibbons, who's going to play for Wake Forest. The other Cardinal Gibbons star, Cameron Steele, he's heading to North Carolina State. So they'll meet up as opponents in the very near future.
A lot of these players probably have had some very intense matches against one another. And I think you mentioned it earlier. One day your opponents, the next day your teammates. It's good to be able to adjust and work together. As the
Atlantic Coast Conference soccer coaches got to know a lot of Cardinal Gibbons School in Raleigh, as Jordan Reed, one of the top women's players in the country, heading to Duke University from Cardinal Gibbons. And then Cameron Steele and his teammate Chase Road, they'll both be playing in the ACC.
Had Cardell, Clemens, and Turner checked in for North Carolina. Once again, the substitutions coming fast and furious.
Kyle Dix from South Point on the handle for South Carolina, feeding back to Alex Borland from Wando, who's heading to Millsaps College in Mississippi.
I wondered where that was. Glad you knew that.
Right side for North Carolina, Basnet from W.A. Huff and Cornelius.
So we had a player, Brennan Coslow, going to Niagara University in New York. These players are going all across the country.
Coslow from St. Joseph's out of Greenville, South Carolina, two-time state champion. South Carolina defenders helping out Allardyce there to clear out that threat from North Carolina, and now the Sandlappers trying to mount a little rally here. Oh, good work there by Jonah Hodes, outstanding defender from T.C. Roberson. Four-year starter. T.C. Roberson from Asheville, 4A state champs. They won that in the fall of 2013. This is a fall sport, soccer is, in North Carolina. South Carolina, the South Carolina High School League, puts soccer on the sports calendar in the spring. South Carolina, one of, I believe, John, 14 states that compete in boys varsity soccer in the spring.
Well, you know, one advantage of that would be if you have a, say you got a guy with a great leg who could kick on the football team. He could play soccer in the spring and football in the fall that way.
North Carolina in the blue. They'll take it away. They even keep it here with Cameron Steele.
Good possession here as they got a lot of space. He could move up another 5-10 yards.
Work it inside. Cameron Steele. Steele now to Michael Clemens from Sanderson. Sanderson in Raleigh. Now far side to Michael Basnet. Basnet left-footed. Passes off to Ryan Turner. Cleared back deep by South Carolina, but kept alive by the Hills. Good speed by Chase Road, one of the co-captains. He and Will Green. Will Green has North Carolina ahead 1-0. The header in the 12th minute. We're in the 21st here. North Carolina now with Ryan Turner. That slips through to off Michael Clemens, and South Carolina with possession.
Splits the defense, sends it up high there. Let's see who comes down with that one. That's the ball that the coaches really will holler, go after it. A high ball, anybody's ball.
This be a foul on North Carolina.
Might be an opportunity here. Let's see who they put on this ball. With somebody with a strong leg might put it deep in the box.
Looks like it's going to be Chandler Corley from Chapin. Nope, he's going to give it away. He's going to place it there for Raphael Dirigel, I believe.
Yep, looks like puts it in there.
North Carolina knocks it out, but South Carolina tracks it down. They'll send it back to the center back, and Darby Martins from Wando. Now near side, South Carolina with Dylan Garcia from Blythewood High School. Taken down by Chase Road. But a throw in for the Sandlappers.
tight work there. The ball trying to be passed around within about a 5 or 6 foot radius and got away from them. North Carolina comes the other way.
Here come the Hills. Michael Clemens over left to Cameron Steele. Allardyce comes out and covers it up.
Has to make sure he secures that because hustling in there, you got a whole wave of blue shirts.
Adrian Thompson set to check in for South Carolina. The next stoppage, Brandon Feaster and Noah Kimball for North Carolina, along with Garrett Bridgewater. They're ready to return to the pitch.
Big collision there, and the referee says play on.
Now we'll have the subs coming on. 3 for North Carolina. That's Garrett Bridgewater, Noah Kimball, and Brandon Feaster.
Bridgewater going to Wingate, and Feaster going to University of North Carolina. It doesn't look like he's going to be playing. Kimball going to George Mason University to play.
George Mason in Virginia. You know, that's one of the largest schools enrollment-wise in the state of Virginia, John.
Is that right? Bigger than, let's see, you've got Virginia, Virginia Tech. I guess they're up there. But George Mason's probably right up there, I guess.
It's a big commuter school with all the folks from the D.C. area.
I'm trying to think of their mascot. I'm sure you know what it is, probably. George Mason.
24th minute, 1-0 score. North Carolina leading South Carolina.
Are they the Minutemen? They're not the Minutemen. That's
UMass.
UMass. We'll get it here in a minute.
Here's North Carolina attacking with Bobby Cardell from Salisbury. Salisbury, the 2A state champs, and Bobby Cardell, guess where he's going to school? Catawba.
Catawba. 2 players on the team.
In Salisbury, North Carolina.
There you have.
He doesn't have to leave his front porch.
Love the neon shoes, too. Here's the defense works it around.
Basnett takes it away from South Carolina's Kyle Dix. Dix from South Point. He's going to be a pioneer. Will play for Spartanburg Methodist. One of the few, if not the only, junior college in the state of South Carolina.
With soccer, huh?
Hey, I tell you, Spartanburg Methodist has put out some big-time soccer stars as well.
They you could say the same with baseball, and I believe as well with basketball. Some great players have come out of Spartanburg Methodist. Good program.
Over far side, North Carolina's Chase Road. He's been very active. The defender from Cardinal Gibbons School in Raleigh. 26th minute, 1-0. As take a look at Jake Chastain from Watauga and Boone. Big strong leg from Jake. Now North Carolina, Bobby Cardell trying to find a little seam. South Carolina clears it out. Christian Deeney from River Bluff High School in Lexington. Very first year in business for River Bluff High School. That school just opened for the 2013-2014 academic year. And a beautiful new facility there. And you know what they did over at River Bluff High School when they announced they were going to build that school and start academics and athletics? They went to the winningest soccer coach in South Carolina history, Phil Savitz, and said, we'll hire you, and took him away from Irmo High School where he won 14 state championships.
Phil was up here last year with us as well during the
Phil Savitz coached his first year at River Bluff High School, and Christian Deeney will go down in River Bluff athletic history as being their first soccer all-star.
There he is. Well, I believe it was Coach Savitz and Coach Tisdale both came up, and they Coach Savitz's team, Irmo, had knocked off Wando in the playoffs that year. So it was interesting to hear their take on things.
There's a shot by South Carolina's Chandler Corley, but Chastain right there. Corley Chapin High School.
Tried to float it in that upper right corner.
Yeah,
Had it moving that way.
Phil Savitz, 30 years as the head coach at Irmo High School, or nearly 30, won his final match as the head coach at Irmo, won a state championship.
That's the way to go out.
Moved on to build that program at River Bluff. Here comes North Carolina now. North Carolina with Ryan Turner. Won that state championship in 2013 in PKs over Lexington High School.
Wow. I'm thinking of
on the final kick.
I'm thinking that Al McGuire may have done that in basketball at Marquette, win the national championship and then retire. Not many players, not many coaches can do that, though.
North Carolina far side, that's Bridgewater. Number 3, a lot of speed for that midfielder, Bridgewater.
How about the sunny day we have now?
Absolutely
Blue
gorgeous
skies.
here in Daniel Island, Blackbaud Stadium, Charleston, South Carolina.
Say 1 o'clock, downpour, monsoon type. By 2 o'clock, a overcast. And by, what are we now, about 4:30 or 5, 4:30, we're looking at blue skies and a beautiful day. Give it another hour, it may change, though.
That's right. Charleston Battery, wonderful hosts here today at Blackbaud Stadium, and the Battery will play the Charlotte Eagles tonight at 7:30 right here on NSCAA TV. It's a full day of soccer from Charleston at Blackbaud Stadium, 3 matches.
Great
We
spacing.
started off with the Clash of the Carolinas girls all-star match that North Carolina won 2-1. Now the North Carolina boys with the lead 1-0. They'll work it right side. North Carolina will. Warren Washington from Jacksonville. Booted out of there by Kyle Dix.
Be a
Number 7
corner.
from Blythewood.
Well, good
Or
spacing.
Southport, I should say.
Good spacing by North Carolina that provides the opportunity to spread that defense out, leave some gaps, and earn themselves a corner here. Very dangerous here for South Carolina. We saw what happened a while ago when a ball coming right in front of the net with Will Green. Let's see what happens this time.
First set piece here for the Tar Heels. Strong send in. Headed up. A chance, but it is wide right.
Looked like that was defended fairly well in there, as everybody was marked up pretty well, and no one had a free rein at it. So we come the other way, picked up by the defense, however. North Carolina now really kind of taking charge as far as time of possession.
They lead it 1-0. The score coming from Will Green off the header in the 12th minute. And he really climbed the ladder to pump that one in from just outside the 6-yard box.
Good job by the defense there to make sure it goes out on the side and not behind where you would have another corner.
North Carolina with Warren Washington.
Yeah, I like how he leaves the ball way over by the flag, so the keeper has to come get it.
Well, and North Carolina started this match, John. They came out early and said, we're going to press. You know, they had their first shot on goal within the second minutes.
Yeah, there was immediate pressure. Let's see if you have South Carolina. They've had a few drives toward the goal, but not nearly as many as North Carolina now.
They've got a whistle, and it will be South Carolina possession. South Carolina working right to left in the red, North Carolina in the blue.
That was Coslow. You mentioned an interesting story about their 1A team at St. Joseph's winning the last 2 years by a combined total of 20-0.
Yes.
He says 8-0 and 12-0 in 2 state championship matches.
Class A in the South Carolina High School League, St. Joseph's. They're the ones that ended that run by Christ Church. Christ Church setting the national record with 11 consecutive state championships. Christ Church also in Greenville. Christ Church is the Episcopal school, and St. Joseph's the Catholic school.
Aha.
And St. Joseph's was able to eliminate Christ Church from the playoffs back in 2012. And then St. Joseph's went on their run.
Garrett Glaze checking in. Johnny Coutron mentioned Garrett Glaze, his father Geddes, a baseball player at the Citadel, and son choosing a different route, going the way of soccer. So I'm sure his dad enjoys this game as much, maybe not quite as much as baseball, but what an athletic family there.
Garrett's going to play for Presbyterian College in Clinton, South Carolina. The Blue Hose.
So we got the Catholics, the Episcopals, and the Presbyterians. We'll give up some others here.
We've already talked about Spartanburg Methodist.
The Methodists, that's right.
Here's South Carolina now with Alex Borland. Borland from Wando High School in Mount Pleasant, just across the narrow Wando River from where we are here at Daniel Island and Blackbaud Stadium.
Great
North
ball.
Carolina with a nice seam, right side. Will Green. Unable to put some spin on that one, and it was knocked out of there nicely by South Carolina.
Washington, nice move there, off the chest, off the foot, over the head of the defender and maintaining possession. And more substitutes coming in as wave after wave. They just keep coming. See if I can help out on these. We have Hodes, we have McNulty, and Smith. Robert Smith, John McNulty, Jonah Hodes.
I really like Jonah Hodes and his style of play and how he communicates. He is, just a quintessential team player and a throwback sweeper back there.
See the kind of the personality of a quarterback or
Yes.
a point guard. That's what he does back here on defense. As you mentioned, they don't really know each other that well, so that's even that more important that you communicate. Sun coming out now. It's going to be right in the eyes of the defenders here.
And to really shine in an all-star match like these, especially high school level, John, you really have to have that assertive personality. You have to be able to speak up, to be able to know your capabilities and have the self-confidence, because a lot of times you will see in situations such as these where a player might feel like, well, I don't know, he's just as good if not better than me. Who am I to say where he needs to be playing position-wise? And so that's what coaches look for when they select these teams.
Absolutely.
Nice pass there from South Carolina's Adrian Thompson over to Borland. Borland trying to step in, clears it back out to Welburn. Now Thompson again sends it over far right.
Good choice there to get it out of that defense. They were mounting up on defense.
They'll float her in. Chance for South Carolina. Excellent work over there by North Carolina. Boy, how about Brandon Feaster? That's the second big defensive play Feaster has made.
Just a little touch. Get it away from the offense. That's a grab of the shirt. No call.
Here's North Carolina trying to mount a charge. North Carolina, they'll try to work it right side. That's where Will Green is, but they'll keep it with Stamey. Stamey now tips it over to Green. Headed out by the Sandlappers, but kept down by North Carolina.
Just continue to pressure.
Nice little heel flick back by Green there. Now here's Feaster. These North Carolina players really know how to move that ball.
Stamey, a little attempted pass back to himself there and got a little bit away from him.
Good dribbling skills by this North Carolina club.
Here's a good play right here. As Thompson has when he's been on the pitch, it's been a different team for South Carolina. They've utilized his skills.
Will Green trying to chase it down over on the far corner. Green had the header earlier. Here's Green now. Green going to pass it off. And I think Green a little bit regretting that he did not take that shot, as he had a little bit of an opening but decided to pass. North Carolina grabs it back down again. Here in the 38th minute, 1-0 score, North Carolina leading.
Good sliding defense there by, I think that was Smith.
There's North Carolina just over the bar. A big charge by Garrett Bridgewater over there on the left side. And a little collision over there, too.
Slow to get up.
South Carolina player checking on him. That's good sportsmanship there from Garrett Glaze from James Island High School.
Looks like he hit his head. And you know how cautious the folks are now, the medical and the coaches, about concussions and head injuries. Let's see what they decide here. I would guess we'll see a substitute. Like
athletic training staff. And they're also all-stars as well, the folks that get selected to serve the Clash of the Carolinas as the athletic trainers. And there is certainly a concussion protocol that is in effect. So anytime the referee sees any kind of contact to the head, he will initiate that.
And the substitute is Bobby Cardell. My son, younger son, played college golf. They had to go through concussion checking, testing. I guess, I don't know. I guess that's just everybody gets tested on that. Halftime.
That's it. 40-minute halves here for this Clash of the Carolinas, and that is going to do it for the first half. Fans, don't forget you can purchase a copy on film from this year's Clash of the Carolinas from the official video production group. That's Torbo Sports Group. Just log on to torbosportsgroup.com. That's TOURBEAU sportsgroup.com and get your copy today. And that's going to do it for the first half with North Carolina behind the header in the 14th minute from Will Green. They have the lead 1-0. Stay with us. We'll have more from Charleston here on NSCAA TV. Welcome back to Daniel Island Blackballed Stadium here in Charleston, South Carolina, the 8th annual Clash of the Carolinas. Bert Chantley and John Peters with you. John, let's go ahead and take a look at these first half highlights. Here's North Carolina. They started out early, coming in on the attack. Here was their first shot on a goal, and a nice save there by Brady Allardyce from Academic Magnet. Another chance here for South Carolina, their first of the day. Johnny Cutrone from Fort Mill, and there's good work there in the net by Jake Chastain from Watauga High School in Boone, North Carolina. And now here comes the Tar Heels again, but they were turned away in the 9th minute. And now this is big-time soccer right here. Watch this. Will Green with the header and the goal for North Carolina.
It looked like they've played together week after week, seeing that right there. And you know they haven't played that much, but almost they could read each other's mind on that play.
And closing out the first half, one more chance, and that was it. So that's where we stand. 1-0 is your score here at the Clash of the Carolinas. Daniel Island and Charleston. We've got more when we return here on NSCAA TV. Welcome back to Daniel Island, Charleston, South Carolina. Birch Antley and John Peters with you. We're getting ready to start the second half here of the Clash of the Carolinas. The broadcast of this match is authorized by the NSCAA and NSCAA TV. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of any image, sound, account, or description without the express written permission of the NSCAA is strictly prohibited. This broadcast is being brought to you by Turbo Sports Group, the official video streaming production of the Clash of the Carolinas. Don't forget, fans, you can purchase a copy of this year's All-Star Games, both girls and boys, by logging on to TSG's website at turbosportsgroup.com. That's TOURBEAU sportsgroup.com, and get your official DVD of the Clash of the Carolinas. The girls won the first match today, the North Carolina girls, that is, 2-1. Picking up the game winner in the 78th minute of an 80-minute match. Here, North Carolina, the boys, they lead it too. After one half of play, Will Green from North Carolina with the header in the 12th minute. In North Carolina and South Carolina, the first half, John, really, I thought, kind of evenly matched. I thought North Carolina may have had the lead, obviously, in time of possession, but South Carolina had some chances to go along with plenty by North Carolina.
Well, the one thing, and I don't think we've talked about this, but the depth of skill and talent on the North Carolina team seems to be pretty even all the way through the entire 18-player squad. And I think maybe with South Carolina, your first group out there is probably pretty even, but when you start putting the substitutes in, it seems that North Carolina can kind of get the momentum, and so maybe the depth isn't quite there. I don't think North Carolina loses anything when they bring in those substitutes because they're still very strong.
One thing that stood out to me for North Carolina, the defensive play of number 6, Brandon Feaster from Ronald Reagan High School in Pfafftown. And then for South Carolina, and I think you highlighted on it as well, John, in the first half, when Adrian Thompson is in from Spring Valley High School, the aggressiveness of South Carolina on offense seems to pick up a bit.
Yes, sir. And we saw him do that bicycle clear, and I think that inspired the team a little bit.
North Carolina in the blue, South Carolina in the red. North Carolina moving right to left on your screen. We've got a new keeper here in the second half for South Carolina. In for Brady Allardyce is Stockton Blanchard from Ashley Ridge, and he was outstanding in the South Carolina All-Star match that's called the North-South Soccer Classic. Ashley Ridge from Summerville, South Carolina. We're located in Summerville, South Carolina, about 20 miles or so from Daniel Island.
It's a fairly new school as well. I think it's Cane Bay and Ashley Ridge, both fairly new schools up in that area. Little instruction given over on the sideline. I believe that's Keaton Haynes who came over to get a word from the coach.
South Carolina trying to feed left side, and coming out for North Carolina, Justice Heiser, a new keeper for North Carolina as well. Justice Heiser from Chapel Hill High School. And the head coach for the Tar Heels today, that's Ron Benson from Chapel Hill. 30 years as head coach, two-time North Carolina Coach of the Year, and 2014 inducted into the North Carolina Soccer Coaches Association Field of Honor. That's North Carolina's Hall of Fame for high school soccer.
Has to be a thrill to be able to be a part of that. Back and forth we go.
South Carolina working it with Brennan Coslow from St. Joseph's, one of the co-captains, along with Tyler Ryder from J.L. Mann. Tyler Ryder, Gatorade's South Carolina Player of the Year this year, 2014 Class 4A runner-up in the state championship. J.L. Mann lost to Wando, and Tyler Ryder, one of 2 players from this South Carolina squad that will move on to play for Clemson University.
On a back and forth here, and that might be a steal right there in front of the box.
Look at there, Feaster. How about that?
Nice.
Feaster just really has impressed me.
Well, he's fearless, first of all, and then he controls his body so well, too. He can be going down and still get a touch on the ball to keep it away from danger.
South Carolina takes it away. Grayson Rayner. Rayner, one of those future Clemson soccer players. Rayner and Ryder will be playing for Clemson this coming fall.
Well, that may be another reason so many states have the fall season for high school, is because the college, they're kind of in that cycle of thought then that the season is in the fall.
North Carolina, there's getting loose. Michael Basnett from W.A. Hoff and Cornelius. Again, new keeper for South Carolina. Stockton Blanchard, new keeper for North Carolina. Justice Heiser.
We had the side judge I was watching closely was signaling offside, and what he meant was goal kick. So it's always fun to watch I do a little officiating I was telling you about, but it's always fun to watch the officials, how they communicate as well.
South Carolina, good little win there for Grayson Rayner. Collision near side.
Got a whistle. Everybody's up, though. That's the key thing.
North Carolina possession here. Just starting the second half in the 44th minute. Again, 2 40-minute halves. Near sideline. Good battle for the ball, and it's won by Ryan Turner. Turner now slips it over to Noah Kimball. Kimball's been active in this match today, especially in the first half. The 8th annual Clash of the Carolinas. North Carolina leads the series with 3 wins, 1 loss. There have been 3 ties. North Carolina, they have won the last 3 matches.
Right now, nobody really can get in a rhythm. We're seeing the ball go back and forth, and now South Carolina trying to. There's Feaster once again.
Yep. Just taking a great angle to the ball, Feaster. Now North Carolina attacking on the right side. See if they can get something going middle. They're going to try to feed Feaster over right side, and it's cleared out of there by South Carolina.
Earns the corner. You could see that developing as, once again, we talked about communication. You could see that he said something to his teammate to say, hey, feed me down in the corner, and that's what happened. Not only good on defense, but a good, smart player on offense.
Second corner of the day for North Carolina. 2 players on the post for South Carolina. That's good defensive work. Good defensive maneuvering there for South Carolina. How many times did we see in the World Cup, especially, there is Stockton Blanchard coming out, especially in the knockout stage, John, when you'd have set pieces and there would just be nobody on the post defensively.
Yeah, I'll get over everyone and no one behind. That's right. Little hand jousting there. Let's see if there's a whistle.
This is the 8th year of this event, the Clash of the Carolinas. And John Peters, just 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, we had an alumni of this Clash of the Carolinas event score his first goal in MLS for Sporting Kansas City. Alex Martinez, who went to
great team too.
Northwestern High School, represented South Carolina, played in this event back in 2010, then played for North Carolina State University. In his first appearance for Sporting Kansas City, scored his first goal, and then, here's an opening for North Carolina. There's the shot. Count it! It's in there. Ryan Turner, lower right corner.
On the left foot, he had the angle, and he put it right there. He waited as long as he could. And if the play developed here up here at midfield as two different players went down, you saw, I believe it was Koslow who was pushed down pretty much. Then you had another slip and a slide up here for a tackle. It was not effective. That opened this entire side to see it in here. Here we come. Left foot, lower right, score. So bodies were strewn all the way down the pitch, left it wide open.
Yeah, like you said, he had plenty of space, was able to really wind up and get nice velocity on that one, and able to get it right past Stockton Blanchard. Here's South Carolina now, a whistle.
That's a 2-point takedown.
Yeah, that was John McNulty in there on Chandler Corley.
They're shaking hands, I think. They called the foul out here, but play continued, and there was even more later on. One of the few sports where you'll have a referee give a little lecture to the player, talk about the physicality there.
Well, yeah, that's what I like about soccer, especially in the high school level, is, a lot of times officials, they're like, a second coach on the field, and that's what they're supposed to do. They're, a lot of those guys are out there saying, not only am I going to, officiate, but I'm also going to use this as a teaching opportunity and
Absolutely.
try to share my experience and knowledge. And
well, and
I've always liked that.
Slow things down a little bit. You have a moment or two, everybody catches their breath, and the emotions kind of come back down to sea level.
Checking in for South Carolina, Garrett Glaze. Probably has the nickname Blaze with that red hair.
As I said, I've known him through on James Island Sports. Played some baseball.
Or Garrett the Blaze Glaze. That would just be too easy, wouldn't it, John?
Yeah.
That would be too
You
easy.
have to keep thinking on that.
Here he is, Glaze. And that's taken down by Cameron Steele for North Carolina. North Carolina with goals from Will Green and Ryan Turner.
A lot of space on this near side.
Here's Ryan Turner, just scored the goal moments ago. They'll try to send it back his way, but it's taken down by Garrett Glaze for South Carolina. Tar Heels keep it, though, with Connor Kirby, one of the defenders. Connor from Providence out of Charlotte.
Well, that was good communication going back a minute or so, but Ryder and Glaze working together down here. Glaze let it run, and Ryder cleared it out. Could have been a problem down in the box.
A little tussle there, Glaze and Turner. North Carolina is going to win this one as they'll keep it back there with Connor Kirby. Kirby heading to UNC Wilmington.
Is that the Seahawks? Is that right?
I believe you are correct.
I cannot remember. George Mason. They're not the Patriots, are they? George Mason. I have to look that one up.
Left side. North Carolina with Bobby Cardell. Cardell launches one and right to Stockton Blanchard. The Ashley Ridge graduate covers it up for South Carolina. The Sandlappers trail 2-0. North Carolina with the lead here in the 51st.
Replay coming up here. Shot and nice save. He was deep in the, almost back in the crease on that one. Shove in the back, let that one go.
Near side to Garrett Glaze. From James Island, who's heading to Presbyterian in Clinton, South Carolina.
The Blue Hose. Now that's an interesting mascot as well.
'57th minute. Here's a good look right there at Garrett Glaze from James Island Charter. future Presbyterian Blue Hose.
There we go.
52nd minute of play here in the 8th annual Clash of the Carolinas. North Carolina with the lead 2-0, trying to win their 4th consecutive match in this All-Star Classic. It is the only interstate high school All-Star soccer match in the country.
Got substitutions rolling in. I'm sure the heat index has gone up some as the sun is now shining brightly.
North Carolina now. North Carolina getting aggressive. Ryan Turner. And Glaze catches up with him. But this will be a good opportunity here for North Carolina, as they'll have a chance to put something together here on this corner that's coming up. Second set piece of the half for the Tar Heels.
Not much wind out there, but as I said now, any corners coming in from this side, the sun is right into the eyes of everyone as the ball comes in. You see the keeper shading his eyes and the defenders getting ready. Here it comes.
Send it in, and it's cleared away, but no signal yet from the official over there on the far side. It is going to be North Carolina, so they'll go to the far corner now.
Left-footed corner coming up.
Sends it in low. Here's a chance. North Carolina poked out of there by the Sandlappers, and now on the run is Welburn, Julian Welburn. Trying to get it ahead, but coming out is Justice Heiser, and that was a smart decision by the keeper for the Tar Heels. And this battle is won by Michael Basnet for North Carolina. Basnet being marked by Glaze. Basnet keeps it alive as Glaze was able to get some help from Brennan Coslow, but another corner coming up here for North Carolina. 55th minute of play, 2-0 is your score, North Carolina leading.
A lot of scrappiness in this one as well, and South Carolina is not letting up. Even though they're down by 2, they're still fighting hard.
Corner here from the near side. South Carolina over there with Julian Welburn. So South Carolina trailing 2-0. Let's see if Ben Schoen, the head coach from Waccamaw High School on Pawleys Island, David Wilcox from Christchurch Episcopal in Greenville. Let's see if those two coaches will tell those forwards, midfielders push a little bit more here for South Carolina.
A little bit of space here for South Carolina. Probably not used to that. Used to having somebody right on top of them.
Sandlappers now far side. Pushed back by North Carolina. Good speed there by Michael Basnet.
Nobody behind him, however.
However, Ryan Turner left side. Turner is going to wait for some help. Gets it from Michael Clemens. Now North Carolina getting loose, but popped away. That was Robert Smith. Smith wins a little battle here. Smith centers it. Left footer, nice play by the keeper, Blanchard from South Carolina. His second big save coming in this second half, replacing Brady Allardyce.
That was a foot save as he kicked to his left, and that was about as close as you can get and not score there with the ball bounding around. Finally, one more shot. Here it comes. Ball high in the air. It's going to come right in front of the net.
Wholesale substitutions now on for North Carolina. Trotting onto the pitch, Will Green, who scored the goal back in the 12th minute, the first of this match, off a beautiful header. Also, Austin Stamey and Warren Washington.
So there were 2 opportunities there to score, one off the first shot, then a rebound that was.
And South Carolina,
launched.
they've got Adrian Thompson back on the pitch. And, John, we've said when Thompson is on, it seems like South Carolina's attack is benefited by having Thompson in this rotation. And they've got Thompson on that pitch now. So
see if that helps. Little flashy player, too. He's got that. Look at this.
South Carolina with a chance. Oh, beautiful work by Justice Heiser from Chapel Hill. Heiser coming way off his line. Excellent play.
And it looked like the forward got turned around. Underneath, he had spun around, and then he tried to kick it at right foot. Couldn't get to it.
Josh Reed from South Point, number 14. South Point High School. John, that's in Rock Hill, South Carolina, just south of the border from North Carolina, out of Charlotte. It's
South Point. I do remember seeing that, going up there to Carowinds or something of that.
Josh Reed is going to stay close to home. He's going to attend and play soccer for Queens University, which is in Charlotte.
Nice. George Mason are the Patriots, by the way, as I I got curious, had to look that up.
There's Thompson.
He's very controlled, too. He can control the ball well. He's got good power, good speed. Playing at Wofford.
Wofford College in Spartanburg. Now North Carolina again attacking. North Carolina, Robert Smith coming out. Blanchard. Nicely done by Stockton Blanchard, the keeper from Ashley Ridge High School.
That's a fearless play again as he sees a cleat go right over his head as he dives through. That was flashing through with Stamey.
We've got 20 minutes now remaining in this match. North Carolina leads it 2-0. Scored a goal in the 12th, a header from Will Green, and then just a beautiful left footer, lower right corner from Ryan Turner in the 47th minute. South Carolina has had a couple of chances, but boy, have Chasteen and Heiser, the 2 keepers.
And a back row that is very stingy. Look at this. They just keep that ball. They don't let you control it when you get in tight.
That back line, which is really, I think, led by Jonah Hodes. He really puts those guys in perfect position, does he not?
He's got them all organized. He knows he's probably speaking to him even now as we speak, even though he's on the far side.
North Carolina now. Robert Smith, right side. Cameron Steele. Steele heading to North Carolina State from that Cardinal Gibbons school in Raleigh. Cardinal Gibbons with 3 players represented in this weekend's clash of the Carolinas. Jordan Reed in the girls' match, and here for the boys' version, Cameron Steele and Chase Road.
Shot off to the right. We see the pass there from Stamey, perfectly timed, a through ball right to the feet of the rushing player and earns the corner. But you talk about Hode, you have a good poetic line in the back, Hode and Road.
Yes.
Those are the 2 guys that Road is the captain. And so these guys in the back doing a great job.
Good fight for position here, and that's taken in by Brennan Coslow, one of the co-captains for South Carolina.
Put into the bench area. Feaster getting ready to come back. Yeah, there's another good defender.
Back onto the pitch, Brandon Feaster. We have really raved about his defensive skills. And, John, historically, when the committee chooses an MVP, they kind of favor defensive work over goal scorers, really and truly. We saw the North Carolina girls that their team MVP went to
Natalie Johnson.
Who was just outstanding defensively and also setting pieces up from midfield position. But, Feaster could be in line for serious contention for North Carolina's MVP.
Especially, like I said, when you spread the scoring around, it really takes the emphasis off one of the offensive players and highlights if it's a shutout or 2-1 victory, as we saw earlier. Looks like another sub coming in is Clemens, Michael Clemens, going to Campbell University. Now, there's a good name, the Fighting Camels of Campbell University in the Big South Conference. Eric Griffin, I don't know if you saw the big slam dunk that he had in the Summer League, a Campbell University basketball player who's making splashes right now. Nice ball there.
Campbell University from the Camels of Bowie's Creek.
Bowie's Creek. I wonder if there's some good fishing there. I bet there is.
There's North Carolina working it now with Robert Smith, number 13, ahead to Warren Washington, number 17, offsides.
One of the few offsides we've seen.
I think it might be the first.
Well, it's maybe one or two in the girls' game. I don't think we've had any in the.
I think this is the first in this
game.
boys' match, yes.
Here we are in the 64th minute of the match.
South Carolina trailing 2-0. Trying to get something working here with Thompson right side working into the middle, and that's knocked out of there nicely by Cameron Steele. North Carolina keeps it going now with Bridgewater. Bridgewater left side. Bridgewater stops, feeds off to his right where Austin Stamey is, and now they'll work it with Robert Smith over there on the right wing. 65th minute of play, so 15 minutes remaining in this Clash of the Carolinas with North Carolina leading 2-0. They won last year 1-0. They lead this series 3 wins, 1 loss, 3 ties. Checking onto the pitch now, Noah Kimball from Havelock. For South Carolina, you've got Julian Welber, number 17, and Keaton Haynes.
Yeah, Josh Reed comes off another corner. This may be, we may be approaching double digits in corners now for North Carolina as it's headed away.
South Carolina yet to have a set piece.
I don't remember. Maybe a free kick out front, but I do not remember a corner. Pretty amazing.
Here's Welburn, Julian Welburn from Northwestern. Ahead, Grayson Rayner.
And the defender takes the liberty of rolling the ball back about 8 yards, which is probably where the foul had occurred.
Right side, Adrian Thompson. Over to Johnny Cutrone. Cutrone from Fort Mill. As a sophomore for Fort Mill, Cutrone scored a goal when Fort Mill won the 2012 Class 3A state championship. And Fort Mill right there in that Rock Hill area too. And he's going to stay nearby and play soccer for Winthrop University.
Yeah, the Eagles, Winthrop, also in the Big South. A lot of Big South and smaller conferences. I'd say smaller conferences, but conferences that we had that ball must have crossed the line or was touched by a player that was out. Boy, it looks pretty out there. The beautiful green grass, the sun up, the blue sky now. We've seen a little bit of everything today.
Great location for this Clash of the Carolinas. Charleston on Daniel Island, Blackbaud Stadium.
That was a good opportunity, but you just didn't have the second wave coming in time to back it up. Might have it here, though.
South Carolina looking for some momentum to build, but North Carolina, that back line again, those 4 guys are just tough as nails.
Spacing is good, communication is good, and their feet work is fantastic.
And the linchpin back there for that backline defense is Jonah Hodes, number 8 from T.C. Roberson, 4A state champs, 4-year starter for T.C. Roberson out of Asheville, North Carolina. Oh, and that one just right into the head of Robert Smith.
That was a rocket.
Was it right? Nope, it was number 9. I'm sorry, Noah Kimball. Referee going to head over and check on Noah, make sure he's okay.
And that was, I mean, he loaded up from about 5 yards away, went in with that hard left foot and caught him right in the face. Here's Mr. Excitement on this side. Thompson.
South Carolina now. Keaton Haynes trying to go ahead to Cutrone.
He looked twice to the side referee.
Second offsides of the match.
And the second time he looked, the flag went up. So I don't know if the referee said he looked guilty or if he actually was offside, but
only our second offsides.
almost
We're coming
to
up on
70.
10 minutes to play now. North Carolina leading 2-0.
Bridgewater, I would say, qualifies probably for the most interesting hairdo out there. He's got that interesting haircut that I don't know if that intimidates anybody, but you see a lot of that in soccer. See it in the World Cup.
Yeah, especially a lot of teams, when they get into the playoffs in high schools around South Carolina, North Carolina, and for that matter around the country, once you get into the playoffs, your hair changes.
Something, yes. Color, the lack of hair.
We talked about Phil Savitz, former head coach at Irmo High School in South Carolina back in the first half, and the Irmo Yellow Jackets, keep that in mind, their mascot, the Yellow Jackets. That is their tradition, and it has been for as long as anyone can remember. Once Irmo makes it into the playoffs, the hydrogen peroxide is passed around the locker room, and everybody goes blind.
So the yellow comes out. See a couple substitutes. Connor Kirby checking back in. Also saw Glaze and Borland coming back in.
Connor from Providence School in Charlotte. He's going to play for UNC Wilmington.
All sent across. South Carolina still trying to work
here's a chance now. Robinson. Oh, what a collision. What work there by Justice Heiser.
We're going to have a penalty kick.
Yes, we are.
And the referee making that call, we'll see the replay here. And he's now explaining it to Hodes. As you said, he's very confident. He goes right to the referee. He wants to know what's happening. And let's see who's well, that was that Thompson down there?
It was.
There he is.
It was Adrian Thompson. So now South Carolina will choose
Kozlow, looks like.
Kozlow, one of the co-captains from St. Joseph's. Here's a chance for South Carolina to pull within one. Here's the shot. It's good. Kozlow nails it. 71st minute. And South Carolina is on the board. The South Carolina Sandlappers in the girls match, a goal off a PK, and now here in the boys.
Hey, they're 2-1, same score as well. Although they're hoping the guys do that they can get an equalizer here. And I know the keeper down there, that's Heiser in there now, correct?
Yeah, that was Heiser.
He's probably saying the exact same thing we saw earlier.
Take another look here, John.
Just out of his reach. And he's angry, said he, just like we saw.
And he went the same way.
Yes.
He was guessing to his right.
Both times we've seen that.
So he picked the correct side. It was just hats off to Brennan Kozlow. Tip of the cap to Kozlow. Now South Carolina We're looking for an equalizer. North Carolina, I don't think they're going to lighten up on their pressure, but they'll lose it here.
This may energize the Sandlappers, and they know there's some urgency now, just a little over 7 minutes to go.
So credit Adrian Thompson for setting up that PK for Brennan Kozlow.
There he is, Mr. Excitement. He's got those neon cleats, and there's out in the middle also is Kozlow with those same bright yellow shoes.
Left side, South Carolina, Welburn.
Flag went up way down here saying it was out.
So the co-captains for North Carolina and South Carolina putting their team on the scoreboard. Will Green for North Carolina scored in the 12th minute, our first goal of this match. And then Brennan Kozlow, one of the co-captains for South Carolina, hammers in the penalty in the 71st minute. 6 minutes to play.
Well, here's an interesting thing, too. You know, we talked about how when Thompson comes in, it adds to South Carolina. Right now, you have Mr. Jonah Hodes coming off the pitch. You wonder if that might change things. However, his replacement is Chase Road, also a great defender.
We did not have stoppage time in the girls' match. Not sure if we will or not here with the boys. We'll just have to see. That will be the call in the field by the officials.
Stamey, just an incredible dribbler of the ball.
Glaze heads it down for South Carolina to Christian Deeney. Deeney from River Bluff in Lexington, South Carolina.
We had a handball back a ways. A lot of action took place after the handball, however.
Now North Carolina again on the prowl. They'll drift it over to Warren Washington. Washington centers over to Clemens. Clemens. Five minutes to play. South Carolina trailing 2-1. It will be South Carolina possession.
That was a good job by Keaton Haynes of drawing that foul. He was working against two defenders and drew the foul. See if they're going to try to. See if they'll try to set up something here right in front of the box.
It's Tyler Ryder. Ryder sends it down. Headed out by North Carolina. Tracking it down over there on the far side, Michael Clemens. Clemens. Ahead to Kimball. Kimball works it left. Austin Stamey. Stamey looking for Kimball again, but Glaze is there for South Carolina. There's going to be a foul.
You had the interference, I'm sure, on Glaze, and then he got a shove in the back, but the first infraction was whistled.
Yeah, Glaze was kind of running a moving screen there.
With both arms extended. That sounds like the old basketball move, the illegal screen.
So a free kick here for North Carolina in the 76th minute. South Carolina takes it away. North Carolina keeps it down with Brandon Feaster. Left side, North Carolina. A little clearing here. Warren Washington just couldn't get a step into it. Washington lost his footing a bit there on the right.
It looked like he slipped, and then his cleat might have got caught up in the turf. He's not too happy about that. But I'll tell you what, he is a very good ball handler.
Warren Washington from Jacksonville.
He steps off, and coming in is Ryan Turner. McNulty also coming in from Holly Springs.
North Carolina with Robert Smith from Apex. Now over to Garrett Bridgewater. Bridgewater's played nicely today from Croatan and Newport. Very good midfielder. Can also play forward.
Great speed there by Robert Smith as he just runs right around to take possession.
North Carolina now looking at that Sandlapper defense. Good work by Garrett Glaze from James Island. Glaze quickly ahead to Darby Martins. Nice takeaway by North Carolina. Wonderfully done by Ryan Turner from Sanderson and Raleigh. Turner scored the goal in the 47th minute. South Carolina looking for the equalizer with 2 minutes to play. Haynes unable to get there.
Sends that one into the parking lot.
But it will be South Carolina possession. We'll have a throw in here on their side. It will be Adrian Thompson, who's really been the spark plug for the Sandlappers.
Only a couple of minutes left, minute and a half.
Back to Thompson.
Rattle
Wonderful
around. Oh.
defense by North Carolina and John McNulty from Holly Springs, forcing the South Carolina turnover.
Little pinball action between their feet. Finally went out off of the South Carolina player, Thompson.
Michael Basnet checks back in for North Carolina along with Bobby Cardell. Bridgewater steps off.
And the substitutions take a little time off the clock as well.
That's smart by the coaching staff for North Carolina. Under a minute to play, unless we go to stoppage. South Carolina, Dylan Garcia. Garcia from Blythewood. Far side left to Welburn. Julian Welburn. Coming up on 30 seconds now. South Carolina with a throw in, trailing by 1.
This is where you need one of those long throws, almost like a corner.
High, cleared out North Carolina. South Carolina sends it in. North Carolina is there. Less than 10 seconds on the clock. Oh, Thompson trying to get free, but unable to get there.
A little unlucky on that. Oh,
Whistles blow, and that is it. And for the 4th consecutive year, the Tar Heels of North Carolina win the Clash of the Carolinas 2-1. Goals from Will Green and Ryan Turner for North Carolina. Brennan Coslow with the lone goal for the Sandlappers of South Carolina. And your final is 2-1 as North Carolina wins it again. Stay with us. We will wrap things up when we return to Daniel Island in Charleston, South Carolina, here in the Clash of the Carolinas on NSCAA TV. Welcome back to Blackbaud Stadium as North Carolina wins 2-1 over South Carolina, their 4th consecutive victory for the Tar Heels here in the 8th annual Clash of the Carolinas All-Star Classic. Here are your highlights, John. We get started early as North Carolina in the blue, immediately challenging Brady Allardyce from South Carolina, and now Johnny Cutrone for the Sandlappers with a little challenge of his own in the 7th minute. Now 9th minute, here's some work for North Carolina, but again, South Carolina able to turn away the Tar Heels.
Tied him up there, couldn't get the foot on it. Here comes the score, though. Kimball, Green, header in.
Yeah, that was a thing of beauty there from Will Green, one of the co-captains from North Carolina, from Marvin Ridge High School in Waxhaw, the 3A state champs, and picks up the first goal of the day. Second half action, or still in the first half actually, 1-0, North Carolina with the lead, and North Carolina again putting pressure on the Tar Heels here in the second half.
Has a nice shot to the right side, and once again, several players down. Ryan Turner coming through with that left foot to the bottom right.
That was on New South Carolina goalkeeper Stockton Blanchard from Ashley Ridge. Now North Carolina attacking again. Blanchard was able to poke that one away. And we move into the 63rd. Still a 2-0 score here. More work for South Carolina as Thompson draws the foul in the box, and the penalty kick is cleaned up by South Carolina's Brennan Coslow from St. Joseph's. Coslow, one of the co-captains for the Sandlappers, and that is the only goal of the day for South Carolina. They gave it a go here at the end, though. John, they had a little crease that they saw open in the final 30 seconds.
Right here.
That was it.
That was going to be it.
North Carolina wins 2-1, knocking off South Carolina for the 4th consecutive year. But a great match all in all. It was a lot of fun here at Daniel Island and Blackballed Stadium. That is going to do it for our entire broadcast crew, for our crew here at Torbo Sports, for the NSCAA TV, for all of our production crew and my broadcast partner, John Peters. My name is Bert Chantley saying so long from Charleston, South Carolina. We'll talk to you next time here on NSCAA TV.